And if you like the video or any other content on the channel, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. This is part 1 of a 3-part series going over the top units for characters, infantry, and vehicles for Salamanders using the Firestorm Assault Force. We'll be going over the top 3 characters for the Salamanders using Firestorm Assault Force. Vulkan He'stan, Adrax Agatone, a captain in Gravis armor, and just a bonus character, the lieutenant. So we'll start with Vulkan He'stan first. He's 100 points, has a movement of 6, toughness of 4, 2-up save with a 4-up invuln, 5 wounds, 6 leadership, and an OC of 1. His ranged weapons, he has a bolt pistol and a Gauntlet of the Forge, which is a torrent weapon, D6 plus 3, 6 strength, AP 1, and damage 1, which is pretty good for a flamer. Then his melee weapons, he has the Spear of Vulkan. It is 6 attacks, 2-up weapon skill, 6 strength, AP 2, damage 2. He can lead assault intercessors, company of heroes, inferno squads, or tactical squads. He does have the abilities of a 6-up Feel No Pain, Forge Father, and Seeker of the Unfound. And Vulkan He'stan has 2 very powerful abilities. The first one, Forge Father. In your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 24 inches and visible to this model until the end of that phase each time a friendly Adeptus Astartes model, so that's your entire army, that's Adeptus Astartes, makes a range attack with a torrent or melta weapon that targets an enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll. And this is a fantastic ability. This allows your Eradicators to re-roll wounds against targets who are not vehicles or monsters. It also helps our Infernus Marines and our Land Raider Redeemers. It pairs very well with the Immolation Protocol stratagem with their Infernus Marines to have some serious threat. It allows you to re-roll your wounds, and when you have Immolation Protocols, you're going to be looking for 6s for devastating wounds. So Vulkan He'stan, Forge Father, it pairs very well with Immolation Protocols and some of our Flamer units. Vulkan's next ability is very powerful as well. Seeker of the Unfound. At the start of the battle, select one objective marker on the battlefield. While this model is within range of that objective marker, it has objective control of 10, a leadership of 5+, and a 4+ Feel No Pain. This can be incredibly strong depending on the mission. Even without a primary mission like Vital Ground or another objective-based primary mission, having Vulkan He'stan on his Seeker of the Unfound objective can be quite difficult to kill or even steal the objective back from. I usually run him with 10 Infernus Marines, giving him a total of OC 20 with a very deadly Overwatch threat. Even more so if that Overwatch target is our Forge Father target, allowing us to re-roll the wound roll. He also has some decent melee if charged into as well. Having him on his Seeker of the Unfound objective just makes it for a really hard objective to take back from the Salamanders. Now let's talk about a few of the stratagems for Vulkan that I do believe that will help him and his unit out. We have Immolation Protocols for 2 CP. This is a battle tactic. In the shooting phase, torrent weapons gain devastating wounds ability. This is better used on a unit of Flamestorm aggressors, but if you can have Vulkan with a unit of Infernus Marines targeting his Forge Father target to get those reroll on your wounds, it can be worth the CP. This is also a battle tactic, so it can be used for free with some of those Rites of Battle abilities. Vulkan does not have any of those abilities, but it does allow you to possibly double up with this stratagem per shooting phase. Also have Crucible of Battle for 1 CP. It's a battle tactic, your shooting phase or the fight phase. So it's either you have to be using it in your shooting phase or any of the fight phases. It can be your fight phase or your opponent's fight phase, but it has to be your shooting phase. Each time an attack targets the closest eligible target within 6 inches, add 1 to the wound roll. You can put him in a unit of company heroes, but I prefer him with the Infernus Marines. It feels more Salamander lore-wise, and it's still a good choice for the tabletop. This strategy would already help his potent melee become even more deadly in combat. Next we have the big man Adrax Agatone. Adrax Agatone is 85 points. He has a movement of 6, 4 toughness, a 2-up save with a 4-up invuln, 5 wounds, 6 leadership, and an OC of 1. His ranged weapon Dracus is a torrent weapon, 12 inches, D6 plus 3, 4 strength, AP 1, damage 1. And then his melee weapon, the Malleus Noctum, 5 attacks with a 2-up weapon skill, strength 10, AP 2, damage 3. So quite a bit of damage with Adrax in this weapon, so he can crank out some good damage with the damage 3. He'll be able to kill Terminators with 1 hit. He can lead the Assault Intercessors, Company of Heroes, Inferno Squads, Tactical Squad, Blade Guard, Intercessor Squad, and Stern Guard. For his abilities, he has Onto the Anvil and Lord of the Pyro class. onto the anvil. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. This is the reason you take Adrax. His datasheet numbers are nice, he has some great melee damage, but this ability gives some melee threat that a lot of the Firestorm Assault Force stratagems lack. Adrax with 6 Blade Guard is my go-to unit combination. You can use Assault Intercessors, but they already have reroll wounds to targets that are on objectives. The Blade Guard do much better into the tougher targets with their AP2 damage to weapons. Do like Blade Guard with Adrax a little better than the Assault Intercessors. His second ability, Lord of the Pyroclast. While an enemy unit is within engagement range of this model, have the objective control models in this unit. This is not really an ability we bring Adrax for, and it will come in handy once in a while for flipping objectives. Onto the anvil is the primary reason we are taking Adrax. Lord of the Pyroclast will only come into play when an enemy model has a higher objective control than 1. So if you're playing a bunch of things with objective control of 1, you can't have that, so this ability won't even come into play. They have to have a higher objective control than 1. The stratagem I want to talk about for Adrax is, of course, Crucible of Battle. For 1 CP in your shooting phase or the fight phase until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a closest eligible target within 6 inches, add 1 to the wound roll. This stratagem is what we can use to make Adrax's unit scary. With his Onto the Anvil ability, allowing his unit to reroll the wound roll, adding +1 to the wound roll makes it even better. If we make contact with the Oath of Moment target with his unit using the Crucible Battle in the fight phase is scary. And then adding a lieutenant to Adrax's unit can cause it to go nuclear into the Oath of Moment target. And we only have 2 named characters for the Salamanders, so the third character that I really like is a captain in Gravis armor. For 80 points, a movement of 5, toughness of 6, 3-up save, 4-up invuln, 6 wounds, 6 leadership with an OC of 1. For the ranged weapons, you have the Boltstorm Gauntlets, pistol, 12-inch range, 3 attacks, 2-up, 4 strength, AP 1, damage 1, as well as the Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle, which is 2 attacks, Ballistic Skill 2, Strength 5, AP 1, Damage 2. For his melee weapons, there is the Mastercrafted Power Weapon, 6 attacks, 2 up, 5 strength, AP 2, Damage 2. The Power Fist, 5 attacks, 2 up, 8 strength, AP 2, Damage 2. You can either choose the Relic Blade, the Chainsword, or the Relic Fist. They all have some different profiles here, but they're all just pretty much just a few extra attacks here. The Relic Blade, which is extra attacks, 2 attacks, 2 up, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. The Relic Chainsword, extra attacks, 3 attacks, 2 up, 4 strength, AP 1, damage 1, so I probably wouldn't take that one too much. And then the Relic Fist, which is only 1 attack, extra attack, 2 up, 8 strength, AP 2, damage 2. The Gravis Captain can only lead the Aggressors, the Eradicators, or the Heavy Intercessors. And for his abilities, he does have the Rites of Battle and Refuse to Yield. The first ability we have is the first ability we're going to go over is Refuse to Yield. Each time attack is allocated to this model, half the damage characteristic of that attack. Fantastic to help the Gravis Captain's survivability from precision attacks. Other than that, it's not the most useful ability. It can come in handy late game when a lot of your units are getting low on models, but early game, if all our attached aggressors or eradicators are dead, then we're already in for a bad time, and half the damage on a remaining model in the unit is not going to save the game. This one, hit and miss. It can be good, it can be kind of useless. It just depends on the game, really. The next ability we're going to go over is Rites of Battle. Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP, even if another unit from your army has already been targeted with that stratagem this phase. This ability can be hit or miss depending on the detachment it's being used in. Luckily for us, the Firestorm Assault Force has some really great battle tactic stratagems that only target the Gravis Captain's unit, allowing us to use them for 0 CP or doubling up on them for some extra potent combinations. The specific stratagems are coming up next. The 4 battle tactic stratagems is one of the big reasons I do like to include a captain in the army, and I do like the Gravis Captain for pairing with the aggressors. So the 4 stratagems that are battle tactic, first one we have is Armor of Contempt. 1 CP battle tactic in your opponent's shooting or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its target until the end of the phase. Each time an attack targets your unit, worsen the armor penetration attack by 1. not the one we want to use our Rites of Battle ability on, but if we need the Gravis captain and his unit to live, or we know we won't be using any of the other battle tactic stratagems for the rest of the round, then we can save a CP by using Rites of Battle on Armor of Content, but only if we're close to 100% sure we won't be needing it later on in the battle round. You don't want to use Armor of Content and then find out, oh, I could use one of these other better ones for free, but now I can't since I already used the ability this round. The next one is Onslaught of Fire. For 1 CP, battle tactic, in your shooting phase, 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that has disembarked from a transport this turn and has not been selected to shoot this phase until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target within 12 inches, add 1 to the hit roll. If 1 or more models are destroyed as a result of any of those attacks, select one of those destroyed models. That destroyed model's unit must take a battle shock. A lot of your weapons in Salamanders are going to be torrent weapons, so this is a very situational stratagem. It's much better on a unit of Eradicators, but I prefer my Shield Captain and Gravis armor to be attached to my Aggressors for the twin linked in shooting and melee. But if a Gravis Captain is with some Eradicators, this stratagem could be an option for Rites of Battle if you have the unit inside of a transport. The last 2 battle tactic stratagems that can be used for free with the Rites of Battle with the Gravis Captain, we have Immolation Protocols. For 2 CP, this is a battle tactic, your shooting phase, torrent weapons gain, devastating wounds ability. This stratagem used on a unit of 6 aggressors with the twin-linked Flamestorm gauntlets is very scary. It is 6s we are looking for, so even with the rerolls, this could spike low or high. The fact that we can use this for 0 CP with Rites of Battle is insane. We could use this stratagem on 2 big flamer units per shooting phase, throwing out a pile of devastating wounds. There's no cap on the stratagem either. This is what makes our torrent weapons so scary to any kind of units we come across. We can punch up into vehicles or we can mow down some hordes. And then the last one, Crucible of Battle, your shooting phase or the fight phase. Each time attack targets the closest eligible target within 6 inches, add 1 to the wound roll. This is the last of the 4 battle tactics in the Firestorm Assault Force that can be used for 0 CP with the Rites of Battle. A great way to help the Gravis Captain and the aggressors he is attached to do a lot more damage in the shooting or melee. The aggressors have twin linked in melee and shooting. +1 to wound will be huge for them. Another great stratagem that using twice per phase is a bonus to the army. The bonus character I wanted to include was the Lieutenant. For 75 points, you get 6 movement, a toughness of 4, 3 up save with a 4 up invuln, 4 wounds, 6 leadership, and OC of 1. I tried to attach this character to the same unit I have Adrax Agatone in. Combined, they can become a very dangerous melee unit that is hard to interact with, especially with the Blade Guard. The Lieutenant's abilities, he has tactical precision. While this model is leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability. This ability allows whatever unit the Lieutenant is attached to attack into tougher targets. The lethal hits on Blade Guard or Assault Intercessors along with Adrax, giving the unit reroll wounds. This will be a death ball unit no matter the target. The second ability that the Lieutenant is going to be bringing the unit he is attached to is Target Priority. This model's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Fall back and charge for the unit that the Lieutenant is attached to all game long is amazing. This on the Adrax Blade Guard unit is very useful. The enhancement that I do like to put on the Lieutenant is called Champion of Humanity. For 10 points, Tacticus model only, while the bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit can ignore modifiers to their characteristics and or any roll test made for them, excluding modifiers to saving throw. This is amazing to have on Adrax Agatone's Death Ball unit. With all the -1 damage, half damage, armed contempt, all that stuff going around, for 10 points to ignore that stuff with your Lieutenant is amazing. You attach him to your Adrax unit and then you just have this big Death Ball unit that's very hard to interact with, that can fall back and charge on you, that's going to ignore your modifiers, has 4 up invulns, lethal hits. Amazing unit. Just want to throw this character in here just because I do find that having him included in the unit that I do have Adrax in just makes a very, very deadly unit. Let's end with some final thoughts on these characters. The 3 characters make a great backbone to any Salamanders list. With so many battle tactics stratagems, it seems silly not to include a captain for the rights of battle. We can pair the characters with lots of different unit combinations. Adrax Agatone's model looks amazing. Salamanders are my first and my favorite Space Marine faction. I did decide to use points because Space Marines do have so many character options that a few points, buffs, or nerfs could really change my top 3 list. The top Salamander infantry video will go more in depth with some of these infantry units we combine with some of these characters or that are just amazing by themselves. And Eradicators, I'm looking at you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's helped some of the Salamanders players just curious look into some of these characters. And like I always say, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by.